So when I was a kid, I used to be really into cereal, and I was always just hoping that we could get Cocoa Puffs or Trix, and my dad never got them. And I was like, Dad, why all my friends have this cereal and we don't? And he told me like, look, son, it might not taste as good and it might take a bit longer to make the food that we have, but at least you aren't getting brain damage and hurting yourself by eating this carcinogenic cereal. And I was like, Dad, I don't know what that word means. I'm literally 12. But now that I think back on it, it makes a lot more sense. And so that's why in this video, I want to talk about, especially in today's modern age, not only with regards to cereal, but all of the content that is out there. We are in this ocean of serious, problematic, carcinogenic material, figuratively and literally. So in this video, I just want to briefly touch on this graph, which kind of illustrates the problem at hand. See, when we eat something like cereal, what happens? Oh man, it tastes great. And then it kind of just comes back and hurts. And then we maybe even out. But if we do this like a bunch of times, actually, there's like this slow decline. And this is what I like to call, as this line goes downwards, degeneration. So let's avoid degeneration. So first let's talk about our intellect. So this graph is encapsulating a bit of a range, but the more that we feed these energies, the more that we rely on being on one of the extremes. If we want to have something longer lasting that is not relying on instant gratification, then we need to feed this. Because this is a much more peaceful line of being. And actually, within this valley of stillness, there is an infinite degree of awareness and peace that we can penetrate. But if we feed these extremes, they actually just keep going to higher extremes. With our intellect, what are our options? So we can go on TikTok and we can scroll on social media. What do you think we will feed if we do that? We will feed this gratification. And if we're feeding the gratification, this dude made a really funny video about a joke, about a meme. That's hilarious. But then, I just wasted a bunch of time and now I'm angry, and then we crash. Or we could do something like, what would be really boring to do? Basically, we could read a book. That doesn't sound very spiky, However, if we put muscle on the bone of being still like that, then that's a way to use our intellect to feed our inner peace. So with emotion, what is something we could do with emotion to feed our extremes, our external pleasures? Well, we could listen to rap or pop or some really fast-paced dance music or something. And this would be very stimulating, which would be, great. But then there comes a crash involved with that. And then we find ourselves, when the music stops playing, like, oh, snap, dude, I'm bored. And this boredom is killing me. So what is something we could do instead to feed the line of inner peace and bring a longer sense of happiness? Well, instead of the stimulating highs and lows of modern music, we could listen to classical music, which is tremendously sophisticated and complex and kind of requires this acquired taste because it's not what we're used to. It's not this quick hitting excitement. It's kind of like a sparkler is like pop music because it's super, super awesome. And it's just a sparkler. And classical music is like a slow burning candle. Does the slow burning candle hit with tremendous excitement right away? No, it does not. But it provides this warmth and peace that, frankly, a sparkler can't really provide. Now, many people make great music these days, and I'm not saying that we can't enjoy our sparklers. But the point is, with emotions, what muscle do we want to build? Do we want to build the extremes and lose the the inner peace? Probably, ideally, we don't. So now let's talk about action. What can we do in action that could feed the extremes? Well, we could go to the gym and try to hit new PRs and get so capped out on caffeine and try to like push these extremes. But then what happens when all of this subsides and we can't go to the gym and get this high? Well, the rest of the day is just, and I've experienced this myself, it is straight awful. So what is action we could take that instead of being fast food cereal type action is more longer lasting and peaceful? Well, it could be a mindful movement like yoga or going on a walk. So clearly these decisions that we can make with our action and with our intellect and with our emotion, we can kind of craft something that is either much more instant or something that is longer lasting and inwardly peaceful. This is what makes or breaks somebody who can be alone in a silent room and either be in pain and agony versus somebody who is like, yes, this is great. I'm at peace and it's okay, whether I'm around people or whether I'm not, or whether my external circumstances are great or whether they're awful. It doesn't matter because I have become a straight line of peace and I don't have to rely on extremes. So that's the point of this video, is just keep that in mind. If we really want to be in control, if we really want to be empowered and not at the whim of life's mechanics to dictate our own sense of happiness, then these are the decisions. So I hope that this makes sense. And this graph is something to keep in mind. So thank you for watching. Peace out.